I bought the last box of candlelight. I didn't buy the candles because romance pays rent. I bought them because flame keeps honest time. The community hall rents out its oak tables and folding chairs to anyone who can sign a check and a promise. They keep a closet of event supplies you can borrow for a small fee. Linens, a stack of mismatched votives, 4 strings of lights that look considerate when you drape them just so. The caretaker, Tom, knows me from when I once fixed a broken hinge for nothing more noble than the truth that favors should get repaid in usefulness. He looked at me with the patient suspicion of a man who has seen too many weddings rehearse vows into meaning. "We're out of tea lights," he said. "There's a single box in the office. If you need it, take it. No trials after 2." He put the key in my hand like a benediction. My phone lit up at 11:22 p.m. with the sentence we both had trained our thumbs to make sound harmless. Loadout ran late. Team had a drink, might crash at the office. Don't wait up. Hannah doesn't lie. She schedules truth into shapes that survive daylight. She manages volunteer armies and donor tantrums and the quiet, difficult choreography of keeping a dozen strangers from becoming a problem. For a year, our marriage had been an excellent plan. Timetables, apologies on time, heat rationed to emergencies. The man who complicated the ledger had a tote and the kind of shoulders people follow. Tristan, operations lead and unknowable in the light that knows how to make things work without drama. He stands a respectful step from married women and somehow makes my neck notice every time. I took the key to the supply room and found the last box tucked behind stacks of tablecloths, wrapped in plastic like a relic. The label said 72 unscented votives. I paid Tom with cash for the night and a promise to return the box empty to the office by morning. The closet smelled faintly of elbow grease and good intentions. I tossed the box in the back seat and walked to the alley where the delivery entrance glowed like the opening of a play. I wanted a room that does not pretend to be private. They came through the back at 12:07, laughter soft with a way of saying the night had handled some of its own storms. Hannah's hair was pinned in the inefficient way she uses when she is tired and trying to look tidy. Tristan followed, sleeves pushed, tote at his hip, a man who has taught ropes to be polite. He saw me before either of them noticed the fact they had been observed. Men who load after midnight learn to read faces from across a floor. "Did you buy the box?" Hannah called toward the alley like it was a small accusation wrapped in humor. "I purchased honesty," I said, "and the candles are my witness." Tristan stepped back into the shadow near the dumpster, hands up like a man cataloging his options. "If I'm in the way," he began. "You're exactly where we want you," Hannah said, with that particular precision that makes volunteers obey without feeling bullied. "One respectful step at the entrance. If I want less distance, I'll use proper nouns." He obeyed. He always obeys in exactly the way that makes his hands look like tools and not declarations. We carried the box into the hall and set it on a round table like it was evidence. The room smelled of lemon oil and last week's coffee. The folding lights were strung up, and the stack of linens on the table looked like geography. I started counting candles like an old habit, 1, 2, 10, 50, because counting is the kind of prayer men like me understand. "Say it," I told Hannah when the tray of corners felt heavy with something like truth. "In an elevator," she said. "2 weeks ago, between floors and nothing permanent, he kissed me. It was quick and stupid and tasted like mint and rehearsal. He stepped back and said my name like a lock. I hated the way the air let him go. I hated myself for liking the steadiness of it." "Do you want me to hit him?" I asked like a man who has learned his anger sounds better in interrogative mood. "I want you to choose me," she said. "Not rescue, not theater. Choose me when I am interesting, not when the city hands me a better adjective. The votives sat like patient jurors. The fluorescent lights hummed like a choir that prefers to be useful. Tristan's shoulders moved once. He adjusted his tote, which is always where he keeps the honest part of himself. He did not offer to go. He did not fish for scripts. He kept being the kind of man it is easy to admire and, at certain hours, impossible to love. "Invite me," I said, "before the elevator decides what it wants to be." She looked at me with a countenance that has the capacity to make rooms forgive. "Invite you?" she asked, smiling in the way that is unlucky for anyone in a pair of shoulders. "Now." I nodded like a man who had tired of waiting for permission slips. She took 2 candles out of the box and placed them on the table between us. She lit one and the flame caught like a small animal deciding to live. She lit the second beside it and then, slowly, dangerously, leaned toward me and pressed her mouth to mine. The kiss was not apology. It was a jurisdictional claim, precise and private. My hand found the small of her back as if I'd practiced the line on my own body. My other hand held the box steady because things that hold weight deserve to be kept honest. When we broke, the 2 candle flames trembled and settled as if they had been given permission to keep watching. "We keep our clothes," she said against my mouth. "We keep the life. We stop pretending mercy will straighten everything. We keep our promises," I said, "and stop investing in demonstrations." Tristan shifted in the light at the threshold as if the vinyl floor had suddenly offered him a confession. He spoke without rancor. "If I hurt anything by being in the way, say, I'll remove myself. The van's ready at 9. "You can be the van at 9, I said. "Tonight please be the hands." He nodded. He is the kind of man who knows his job includes restraint. That is both his strength and my least gentle jealousy. We lit more candles as if vigilance needed witnesses. Flame makes a room honest in the way that rooms that house rituals can be, simple, non-performative. We sat at the table and let the small light refine the edges of our confessions. Hannah told me the truth she had rehearsed for herself, the how and why of the elevator, and the minute it became a question. I told her something I didn't mean to have to say out loud. The night last month I drove to a motel and sat in the car with a key I never used because I needed to see if I could still be dangerous. I laughed at myself in the parking lot until the laughter felt kinder than the idea. "It's ridiculous," she said, and then she put her hand in mine across the candlelight like a minute of politics. "We are ridiculous." "Yes," I said, "and at least the candlesticks don't pretend they're the only witnesses who matter." The candles have a particular way of making ordinary objects theatrical. The votives, light turned the linen into cliffs and the chairs into islands. We ate the stale cookies Tom keeps for emergencies and drank coffee reheated by a hot plate. The intimacy was not loud. It was a workman's compromise. When the night felt like it might file itself into something else, Tristan walked forward with the slow politeness of someone who knows how to exit with dignity. He picked up his tote. Before he left, he looked at both of us in the way men look at a pair of shores that sometimes forget they are one coastline. "Loadin' at 9, he said. "I'll be at the van." "Thanks," Hannah said. The word was small and true. He stepped back into the alley and the door shut behind him. The room drew in its breath, as if relieved that theater would not be required. She slid her hand into the top of my jacket and pulled me close again, as if the city's weather had given us time we did not deserve. We kissed by candlelight that smelled faintly of wax and something better than guilt. My hands learned her again in the simplified architecture of the evening. Neck, shoulder, the subtle cave at the base of her throat where she keeps the small, defensible parts of herself in reserve. "Do you still want to hit him?" she asked when we took space enough to speak. "I want to thank him for stepping back," I said, "and I want to owe him nothing else. I want to be the man you choose without needing the script to tell me how." "That's the version I want too," she whispered. "Let's practice it." We packed the empty box back into the car and left the votives half burned on the table, witnesses, not evidence. The city smelled sharp with a kind of rain that tipped its hat. We walked home through streets that were still figuring out whether they were honest. She held my hand in the small way that made the night believe in us. At 9, the community center smelled like lemons and stacked chairs. The volunteers were there, moving with the kind of competence that makes doing things together feel like a small church. Tristan was already lifting cases, efficient and steady. He saw me and gave the exact nod of a man who has done what he was supposed to do. I walked over and shook his hand like I meant it. "Thanks for the step back," I said. He nodded and went back to being the sort of man who keeps things from falling. We didn't tell anyone the story we had just lived. We didn't need to. We taped one votive wrapper to the side of our fridge under the magnet shaped like a small boat we bought the summer we kept promises. Sometimes when the house auditions for courtroom, we go out and buy another box of unscented votives and set them in a ring. We light them, we say the things, we witness what the city refuses to record. We didn't stop admiring other people's competence. We did stop confusing it with permission. Heat is a temperature, not a verdict. We eat before we try to win. We sleep when the clock loses its manners. We put our hands on each other in daylight like the sun still issues licenses. And when the gossip part of the town asks if we have anything to add, we hand it a votive and say, "No trials after 2, but bring matches." Light won't fix everything, but it will let you see what's left to choose.